Bank Arena, and Chadron is going to be in here. Houston Reed's their coach, and he's been a young guy. I believe he played at Northern State when I was coaching at Southwest State, so they'll probably run secondary break with a guy that can shoot trail threes like he did.
Do you have an idea, obviously the big talk is lineups, do you have an idea of kind of, maybe if you don't have a starting five, are there groups that you particularly like?
Well, I did, and then Edward Murrow's had like a strep throat in the last 3 days, so he hasn't practiced with us yet. You know, that kind of threw a wrench in things in terms of getting things ready. But, you know, what's important to me about the lineup, regardless, you know, you probably go with your most experienced guys right away. But eventually we'll probably get to a certain point where what you need is that blend of rotations that is your strongest, as long as you can be in a half till you get in that foul trouble and you have to start scrambling, you know. So, you know, you want your best players on the floor at the end of the game. You know, you like them on the floor at the end of a half. But at the same time, I think that, you know, there's times that you bring a really talented guy off the bench for a reason, maybe a scorer, or who knows, whatever it might be. But so starting, not starting really isn't a big deal to me. I know it is to guys, but we're gonna do what's best for Nebraska basketball.
Does Jordy fit into that equation? I mean, obviously he's not a veteran, but he's your
Yeah, I mean, he could be right there. Edward could be right there starting at the center. You know, those are guys that are both fully capable.
How do you went back and looked at Jack's freshman year? I mean, what did you feel like he needed to work on in the off season, and where have you seen progress with him going into this year?
Oh, he still needs more strength and mobility, I'll tell you that. But you're just becoming an expert shooter, going from 1 made 3 a game to 2 made 3s a game or 3 made 3s a game. Just elevating that production and that value in a game. And he is a true three-point weapon for us. And I look forward to him. You know, we've got to get him looks that way too. And the best way to do it is through team play. Get the ball moving, swing it, drive it, find him, and go from there. The more difficult thing to do is, you know, construe a whole bunch of sets for him where, you know, he might get a look here and a look there, but it's going to be more easily defended.
Did he make that adjustment to, you know, American college style basketball, kind of the way you hoped last year? How did he kind of go through that process?
Yeah, he's a different player than Ty. You know, Ty's a penetrating guard who's a playmaker. Jack's more of a spot-up shooter. So I don't think it was as difficult for him to make that adjustment. You know, probably more the team defensive aspect, but he's such a good communicator. He makes mistakes, but, you know, you usually, you know, see him out there and his awareness is pretty good. And that's the important part.
Going to be able to play in the exhibition?
I would expect Ed to play.
What's the kind of the process you and the coaching staff kind of goes through to kind of decide the lineups, decide the groups you want to go out?
Well, you know, my assistant coaches have a lot of answers. So I let them tell me everything that they think, which that meeting lasts an hour, and then I decide to do what I feel like doing. Yeah, that's only remotely in jest, but we meet on a regular basis and just talk about blends and lineups, and we did that after Iowa State, and I think we got a good idea on, okay, if we start this lineup or this lineup, what's this look like? And there's some difference of opinions on a couple spots, but at the same time, you know, we're going to do what we think is best for the program, and ultimately it comes down to what I decide. So,
how are you looking health-wise outside of Ed's illness? Isaiah and Anton kind of coming along?
Isaiah's doing better. Anton was out because of a migraine yesterday, and so we've got to, you know, get him back. That's a hard one to diagnose because you never know, you know, how long it's going to hang around on him.
Is that something that he'd struggled with in the past before?
He's had migraines before, yes, and those are no fun. I haven't had them. I mean, I have an aneurysm every game, but I don't have a migraine. There's a big difference, I guess.
Tim, it's an exhibition game, but how much do you treat it like it's a real game, I guess?
Now, we'll treat this one, you know, like a real game. Unlike, you know, we did some, you know, when we went on the road to Iowa State for the scrimmage, we went on the road and, you know, we did a little bit of game prep and all that, but they'll get their little handout on how to stand for the anthem and what all the right things to do are and how to, you know, how to check in. Isaiah Roby ran in the game like it was in the scrimmage. He ran in the game like it was a pickup game, and we're like, no, you got to go over there, and so that's not unlike any other freshman either. So we'll just we'll treat it like a game. We'll get our rotations going and fight like heck against any opponent.
What are a few of the specific things you're hoping to see from them in that game?
An improvement over our last performance. Better defense, better offense. So we'll just see how it goes. Now, we scored 80-some last time, so I'm not sure if that, how that'll go, but we'll see.
What are your expectations in terms of performance? Do you still have some grace with these guys, knowing that it's still really early and this is the first thing?
There's a few guys I think that will get some grace, and there's a lot of other guys that will have high expectations. You have to live through some mistakes. But those sophomores, quite frankly, like I've told you, you've played enough games in my book that you're as good as some juniors in the country because you've been out there, you've got minutes, you've got critical minutes in important games, you've started, you've taken big shots, whatever it might be, that you've got a world of experience, under your belt. So go act like it.
What are your expectations for Jariah, and how do you see him kind of fitting in?
Jariah is kind of right in that spot. By the way, Nick Fuller has a high ankle sprain that he suffered at the end of our was that our public scrimmage? I think he ended it, and Nick has never missed a practice in years. I mean, he's broke his nose and come back and finished practice, and then had a crack the next day during an off day, so he could get back to practice, and so he's going to be out for a few days. But you've got kind of Jariah, Nick. And Jariah's probably hasn't picked things up as quickly as he wants to, or so he'll get that, and he's realizing how hard you have to play in Division I basketball. All of them need to realize that. Jordy, Isaiah, none of those guys are really, I think, in tune with how hard you have to play every possession of a practice to be ready for a game, and so we'll get them there. It'll take time, but they're a talented group, and Jariah can score. So he's got my attention. It's just a matter of where he fits in.
Those freshmen, have you basically ruled out redshirting?
I guess this is the first I thought of it now that you asked me about it. So what does that tell you?
Tim, do you feel like you have a pretty good handle on the team at this point in time?
Our team? Yeah. It's just kind of I think we got we know who's on the bus, right? And now we've kind of got the seats organized the way we want to, and we just got to move Gabe Miles away from this guy so we don't get in trouble in class and get any demerits, and we got to get this guy over here, and so I think as we move forward that we'll get all that figured out. So really kind of minor stuff, and then I think the other thing would be okay, what best lineups are out there defensively for us? Who can we depend on? What's a lineup that we really want to stay away from, and then how can each lineup score on a regular basis? Of course. Anything else? Thanks.